I never grew up with a sister, but Ate Iris has been like a sister and a mother to me all these years that we have known each other. We have so much in common. We share similar tastes, we both love eating spicy food, we love to travel, and of course, we're the love of color red. In fact, we both have a personalized shirt that says "In love with red." We have been through thick and thin, figuratively and literally. All these years we have shared memories, milestones near and far. I met Ate Iris in Orville when I was still in AUP, and it has been more than a decade ago. Ate Y already knew me when I was still a freshman because I was one of the students of Sir Borromeo in Basic Accounting 1, but we didn't meet until my sophomore years. I'm thankful for the JP because we were both officers back then, and then from then our friendship blossomed beyond what I could ever imagine. We shared a lot of things, we shared a lot of ups and downs in life, and I'm just thankful for Ate Iris and also for Kuya Orville. I knew Ate Iris had found her match when Kuya Orville entered into her life. In the past, she dated a few guys, experienced heartbreaks, experienced ups and downs, but that changed. That changed after she met Kuya Orville. I also knew that they would be a perfect match for each other. That Kuya Orville would be the perfect one, since I tortured and tested him. Kuya Orville, I know you owe me this one, but should I say, are you ready to hear more? They were classmates for a while, from basic accounting to auditing to review classes. They started together throughout their accounting journey. But during the time as classmates, they didn't just develop love for accounting, but over time they developed a deep love for each other. It was their first year college in AUP, their new phases, new environment, well, at least for Kuya Orville since Ate Iris is an AUP kid. They started as classmates in Basic Accounting 1 under Sir Borromeo, but like any other first year, they started as strangers. However, recently we found out that Kuya Orville already noticed Ate Iris in one of his cousin's wedding. They exchanged secret glances, little crushes, until someone made a first move, and it all started with a birthday greeting, and guess who did the first move? It was Iris. And soon, they started exchanging text messages regularly. Everything was falling into place, and Orville took the chance and made his move. Around this time, a decade ago, when Ate Iris and I became friends and officers in JP, they continued to get to know each other, but it was secretly. When you know girls being girls, we couldn't just hide secrets. As the saying goes, no secret can be hidden. Soon enough, they became the department's highly looked upon couple. However, Kuya Orville being the Kuya Orville I know, she was very shy, reserved, introverted, but it's just in some ways. And he also has his alter ego, a playful one. And he doesn't have this courage back then to ask permission from Sir Borromeo, and then there was one incident that he accidentally locked up Sir Borromeo in one of the cubicle in COB. He attempted a prank on one of his friends, and the prank went terribly wrong. Kuya Orville, remember those days when you were once my slave? Do you remember the paper flower that you asked my high school roommate to make for you? And then you actually hang this paper flower in Ate Iris' motorcycle, and eventually the chocolate got melted. How about the heart-shaped cookies from the baking class? Remember, we will always deliver all the baked goodies after class to Ate Iris in the Hilig? I can keep going with all this small stuff, greatest stuff, but these are just some of the things that you gave Ate Iris during the early stage of her courtship. But I really cannot believe that you fell into all of my traps and ideas. Soon, I know, and I was thankful that I've been part of your journey since day one. I became the official third wheel. And here is their first out-of-campus date. I was on vacation, but Kuya Orville was really insistent. He was begging me to go back to AUP earlier. At that time, he was not aware that Ate Iris was also telling me about this date. And so, because I love them, I went back to AUP earlier. The Slavic couple has their first date in Tagaytay. They had this. We went horseback riding, we went to Paseo, we went to New Valley, and I really liked the pictures that we had back then. I can imagine all the pictures that we had, and it was just funny. And I just really, as the days, weeks, and months went by, Jasper and I became part of most of their weekend getaways and dates, their study sessions inside AUP, and there were times we would set them up so they would become official couple. We would call them, group call, and then Jop and I would drop the call so that they would have this time together, and we were hoping that they will become official, but we always failed. However, on August 9, 2012, they finally became official, but the third and fourth will remain. Iris and Orville spent most of their dates studying together in the Hilly. Orville worked as a personal tutor, but seldom they would go out of AUP without me or Job or one of their friends, one of their classmates. They always go together outside with some friends. I believe they are really meant for each other. They strived hard to reach their goals. Yes, there were ups and downs in their relationship as students, but they are actually extraordinary students. And one thing I admire about them is their focus and perseverance, especially queer Orville. Even though at times he would be too focused on his goals that he would forget to spend quality time with Iris, with his friend, but he is always determined. He always have this goal that you'd say that he is really a goal-oriented man, a goal-oriented person. Nonetheless, their hard work paid off, and they both graduated with flying colors. As we all know, Iris graduated magna cum laude, Orville graduated as summa cum laude on top of his class, and we know that Orville also placed fourth in the CPA board exams in the Philippines. After graduating, they soon became employed at the biggest audit firm in the country. They helped me be my guide when I was starting my career back then. Both actually did well in their chosen career. Both were very busy at work, very busy having trips, but they still tried to squeeze in time to eat together, to spend time together, even just for a few hours. And they really tried to maintain the communications with each other. Iris started to enjoy traveling, but oftentimes Orville couldn't join her because he had other priorities. He had other work, other activities, or other goals. I previously mentioned that when Orville is sometimes too focused, he tends to forget the people around her. And again, girls being girls, sometimes Iris had a hard time to understand these things, and then it resulted to some sort of drama. And ask me all the drama, I can tell you all the dramas that she had back then, but I know that I actually don't have enough time to share with you all these things. But one thing is for sure, even with those dramas, it helps strengthen their relationship. And since they started dating, they never experienced any form of long-distance relationship, even from being classmates to workmates. But that changed in 2016 when Orville decided to resign and relocate to another city. It was the first time that they had experienced this long-distance relationship, or some sort of long-distance relationship, and they could only see each other during weekends. It was difficult to adjust at first, and it seemed like they really never got to it. Well, even until now, all those years, they're still not used to the long distance relationship. But one thing that I really admire with this couple is their dedication, not just for their service here on earth, but also for eternity to come. When we were in college, Iris, Orville, Jasper, and I, and some of our friends in in the accounting department, we would always hang out Saturday nights. It's either in or out of the campus. It's just merely having like catch-up nights, like talking about stuff, talking about school, talking about life in general. This tradition continues even with our tight schedule. When we go out of town or have a catch-up night monthly, like a simple dinner, I would say it is a friendship goal. And in 2017, we took a leap of faith to take this friendship to the next level and started the ministry, the Stewards Ministry. But instead of just hanging out for fun, like traveling for fun, we hanged out for His service. We soon started visiting churches, sharing the talents entrusted to us by God, and encouraging people to serve and to do ministry, to be involved in the mission. And Iris and Orville became the parents of this ministry, became the parents of this group, the Steward Ministry, this group of friends who's doing service for God's glory. Iris and Orville became dedicated. They made sure that the group is intact, that the group is growing within this ministry. However, the LDR feels became real. In 2018, Orville had a work opportunity in Prague. He didn't tell Iris at first and did not ask for her permission or even opinion. Actually, I didn't know about this until Iris told me. Communication was never easy because of the time difference. Imagine Iris had to wake up early or had to stay late at night so they could just talk. And sometimes it would Orville too, so it's either one or the other who will sacrifice sleep just for them to talk with each other. Regular communication only lasted a few months, and Iris became unhappy about it. Eventually, got used to not talking every day, but I have seen that it was really hard for her. Imagine, I wish I was there with her during this time. But I actually, that same year, even before Orville moved to Prague, I already moved here in the US. And I know it was hard. Like, Ate Angel is also in Japan. Like, Ate Iris is living in Manila to pursue her career, to work. But most of her close friends and her boyfriend were actually not in the Philippines to be with her. But to keep company, Kuya Orville got a dog on her birthday, and it was Batman. Friendship goals, you'd say? Yes, they're good friends. Couple goals? Of course, yes again. And after 3 years, 3 level of exams, Orville got his CFA, and months later, Iris got her CIA. Imagine a CPA couple and then got their CFA certification and also a CIA, and they are really couple goals. They have been traveling around the Europe and Asia because of work, but not together. Iris tried to travel to Europe with air tickets booked already to visit Orville, but her visa was denied. I remember this time we had to reach out to friends to help her so that she would be able to have her visa. But we know that it wasn't yet the right time. So when Orville was assigned to Hong Kong as an expat, he finalized his plans. Like, finally, Orville got his plans. That Iris can just move in after marriage and the financial stability in Hong Kong is a lot better. But then, we all know COVID happened, civil war in Hong Kong, a lot of hindrances, and then Orville was sent back to Europe because it was safer there. And again, it wasn't still the right time. For a couple of years, Iris and I have been secretly preparing for this wedding. Although we were miles apart, we spent some time sending pictures, ideas here and there, snippets, like playlists. But only in God's time will everything fall into place, into the right place. Like most relationship, their relationship isn't perfect. They experience ups and downs. In 2020, however, they purchased a house. and it is more apparent that they are ready to settle down. I was like, when I found out about this, finally, my favorite couple is ready to settle down. But Iris was often confused about their relationship because there was no really clear signs of wedding proposal anytime soon. I was like thinking, if we were just all in the Philippines, if we were just all together, I would really pull some strings so Orville will make the move. But then, both of them took nearly a month to reflect and to pray and think things over for their relationship. Indeed, we cannot go ahead of God's plan. We want something to happen, but if it is not the right time, it won't happen. But as it is written in Isaiah 60 verse 20, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. Orville came home in December, and without anything fancy, they decided to get married the following year. When Iris told me about it, I was overjoyed. In fact, since I moved here, I never went home. But when Iris told me that they are getting married this year, I really told my parents, I'm going home. I'm going home because that is Ate Iris and Kuya Orville's wedding. And then my family is also overjoyed, not just because I'm going home, but it's because Iris and Orville is finally getting married. Since day one, I have been rooting for this couple. The preparations were not easy, and conflicts arose from asking permission from the parents, to finding the perfect venue, to someone who was not mentally ready, and Kuya Orville being in Prague. But thank God for friends, thank God for family who were there for Iris, helping her and guiding her along the way. But indeed, with God's guidance and grace, the day has finally come. Iris and Orville, they are always better together, forever. Ate Iris, Kuya Orville, I may not be there in this special day of yours. I know that we have been looking forward for this day, but you know that you are always here in my heart, that you are always in my prayers, and I am looking forward to be with you, to travel with you, with baby Santi, to catch up with each other's life. I am thankful for the friendship, and I am thankful that God has finally brought you this far. And I pray that you will continue to shine, you will continue to serve Him as you enter this new chapter of your life. That may God be glorified by your marriage, that more people will come to know Jesus because of you, because of your life, because of your dedication to serve Him, and because of your family. I am hoping to see you soon. We may not be able to be with each other in this special day of yours, but you know, and you will always remember that I always have your back, both of you, and I am looking forward for that day that we will be able to finally celebrate this milestone of yours. I love you both, and I will see you soon.